Welcome back, guys. Welcome to another episode of Grind and Grace. I'm Mike. This is my co-host, Charles, and we're continuing part two of how to get over a funk in business. But the continuation is actually about the cash flow quadrant from Rich Dad Poor Dad from Robert Kiyosaki, talking about going from self-employed to, and from employee to self-employed to business owner to investor. Now, we'll probably add the description down at the bottom or add a link for you to actually see that if you need a visual. But we're going to continue on because we have a theory. And my theory is that you have to follow all the steps unless you get a leg up somewhere. But Charles, his theory is that you can skip and thinks that that can be a norm. And we're going to see if we can prove that here. I can test this. So go
Let's
ahead
go.
and explain how can you skip
Okay,
the
so
step?
here's what he's saying to skip. So click on the link below. It's probably a PDF, or maybe we'll do some editing and put it on the screen. But the quadrant is four different areas, and these are the ways you earn money. So there's the employee quadrant and self-employed quadrant. Both of these quadrants, you trade your time for money. And then there's business owner and investor. And on both of these quadrants, so business owner develops processes that convert into money, processes to get even other people's time to be traded in for money, or it also, as an investor, you trade your money makes money for you. Either your money makes money in the stock market, interest bearing accounts, real estate, etc. So can you jump from employee to investor or from self-employed to investor? I believe you can, because there's some high net worth or high income earning employees that actually, I had several tax clients that maybe they're an executive or senior manager and making $500,000 a year.
Yeah, but technically, if you're going to C level, that's not just an employee.
No, but I mean like senior management level, not even C level.
Okay.
Because there were several people at high level corporations um, that weren't C level, but
They're making C level money for maybe a smaller business.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but would you see that as a rule of thumb?
No, I'm just saying it's possible.
Well, possibilities, that's,
No,
you
but
can
it's
throw
more
anything as a
possible
possibility.
than not possible. It's more likely than a unicorn. It's not a unicorn.
Okay, I agree that it's not a unicorn,
Mm.
but the possibilities of that being your goal.
I think it's still possible because, right now they encourage it. Most employees have a 401k. I don't know the percentage, but I'm sure a good portion of people that are making 50,000 a year or more are encouraged to participate in the 401k, and that's a form of investing as well.
Uh, so I think that counting on that is a hope, and it's hopium that somebody is
You mean
smoking.
counting on it like waiting until you retire?
Yeah, counting on skipping steps instead of following the process. I understand that if you're following the process
Mm.
and you happen to be able to skip a step because an anomaly happens, like,
Hmm.
oh, one of the investments that were made just skyrocketed and
Hmm.
made 10,000%. Those are anomalies that you can't say, oh, I'm waiting for that to happen.
Right, right.
And so, same with getting to those high level senior positions where you've worked it for 10, 20 years and had enough to stock a nest egg on the side. But still, that's a process in its own because now you gotta put in those 10, 20 years making that
Sure,
income.
sure.
So, like as a rule of thumb, I would never put my eggs in that basket
Hmm.
because otherwise
Makes sense. You're more calculated too.
I am more calculated and I know that I can count on myself more than I can count on an external factor coming into play.
So that's a good point. So you're saying you would invest in yourself
Invest in myself, yes,
to
but I
be
think
able to
I think when you hear invest in yourself, I'm not saying invest in myself. I said count on myself,
Okay.
and there's a
But in
difference.
terms
It's
of,
counting on my ability to produce and also produce through the methods that I know.
Mhm.
Because I know what you're kind of leading to was about coaching and investing in yourself as far as buying programs or and all that kind of stuff. Uh, I'm I'm not against it, but I'm also not for it in the sense that that's what I'm going to be looking to do.
and I actually meant in terms of, and we could talk about that, but I also meant in terms of, you know, if you were an investor instead of stocks or instead of something else. I thought you more so meant since you can rely on yourself. I thought, was it the same as investing in yourself? That's what I was thinking.
Oh yeah, not in my mindset,
Okay, okay, okay.
not not in my concept of thought.
Okay. Because I can see either way right there. That's what.
Yeah,
Okay.
investing in stocks, you're still shooting in the dark. Yeah, you can make calculated decisions, you can make informed decisions, but at the end of the day, you can't control whether, somebody drops a bomb on another country and now the stock market crashes.
Sure.
You can make all the calculated decisions in the world unless you hedged, and your hedge now out earns your long-term investment.
Right.
It's possible, but just not likely.
Not likely. Another unicorn scenario.
Yeah, yeah. So now with the clarification, are you still for skipping steps? Because
Well, I'm saying, I mean, I'm not telling people that, hey, you too should seek to skip steps and this is how you do it. But I'm saying there's no one way to do anything. And as an entrepreneur, I think we all know that. And honestly, I will say you're more than capable of skipping steps. And if we had to, I'm sure we can put a dollar amount on how much money you would need to earn in an employee or self-employed area in order to be able to invest. And even you said you lived on 5 to 10% of your earnings. So if a person was able to live on, I'd say at least 25% of their earnings, then you probably have some capital to invest.
that's true, and I did invest a lot of that, and uh, the fall in 2022, it actually took a lot of my nest egg away because I did invest those.
Right. I understand. But you're a business owner at that point too.
Yeah,
And we can earn money in different levels. But I'm saying all that to say, if you're self-employed or employee or employed, and you manage to get roommates and you manage to find ways to be resourceful, you can, and so you're living on a fraction of your overall income. I mean, yeah, you can definitely skip steps.
are you suggesting that as a as a plan?
Yeah, I'd say that's a way to help skip a step faster, which is like get your expenses as minimal as possible. And so no matter how much you're earning, if you're able to get by on only 25% of your income, for example, which is not the norm, then yeah, like because for example, you'd be doing outstanding. I read this book, The Monk and the Merchant, and
I
have
read
you,
that book. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
and so and what they talk about is, hey, the man became very wealthy by just saving 10% of his income away, like in perpetuity, like never touching that 10%. So that means he's living on 90. Well, if you're a believer out there and you gave your first 10% to the Lord and then the next 10% to your savings, then you can live on 80%. So 80% is super good. Well, if you manage to get to flip that the other way around and hey, you're only living off of 25% of everything you're earning, man, you are winning.
That's true. You're winning. I still wouldn't have considered that a way of skipping a step. Uh, Now, granted, the need to become a big business owner is not a necessity. So I can see that being a step that is skipped.
Hmm.
But will you elevate your lifestyle or elevate your earnings and your earning capacity if you do skip that step? I think more or less if you do, you're just sustaining what you were making
Mm.
or having a little bit lower level that you're
Can
sustaining.
you say it again? Like say it in a different way.
All right, so if I'm a self-employed person and I'm earning 1 million a year,
Hmm.
but I'm living off of, let's say, 100,000, so I'm saving 90%. That savings is could eventually produce the 100,000 I'm doing. So all I'm doing is sustaining my lifestyle level. I'm not advancing it. So like I'm not by switching from self-employed to business owner, I would be advancing my lifestyle because now I go from making 1 million a year as a self-employed person to potentially making 10 or 100 million a year, and now my 10% is 1 million.
Oh, you're saying if we stay stuck on percentages.
Yeah, so if with the employee mindset, I think you can skip steps, maintaining that same level of living, but you can't
I'm with you.
advance.
I understand.
And so
I get you.
that might have been the misunderstanding or miscommunication is that yes, you can skip steps, but you by skipping that step, you're just sustaining. You're not advancing.
That's if you use percentages, but if you keep your, but yeah, I think you clarified it to keep your lifestyle the same is the biggest key while you're advancing in order to help you get to the next level faster.
Yeah, because if you keep your percentages the same, you increase your lifestyle by increasing your gross income or your
If you keep
your
your
net income.
percentages the same, you keep your
So my
lifestyle.
10%, I can increase my lifestyle by increasing the amount of money I'm making in that 10%
I see.
versus
I see. Yeah. And
yeah,
which is good. You need rewards in life too.
yeah, yeah. But I
Because
don't.
as you earn more and you can be frugal and, God forbid, but we could also pass away, crossing the street and all that you save goes to the next man who didn't even earn it. And so, um, it's good to reward yourself while you're being successful. So if it was 10% and 90% is being saved or invested or whatever, but the 10% now instead of, 100,000, now 10% is 400,000. Well, hey, it's okay to get some nice things if you want it. You want the nicer house? Feel free. You want the nicer car? Feel free. Because it is sustainable because you're still only living on a fraction of what you make.
Yeah, yeah, and that's exactly what I did. I kept my percentage the same. I just kept as I made more, I increased my lifestyle.
Yeah. And I actually was increasing my lifestyle as I made more. So, oh, hey, I'm gonna make more. I'm gonna spend more. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, yeah. So, I mean, but you never know. I mean, not you never know. Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst.
That's true. That's true. And sometimes we know things, and it's easy to know things, but put them to actually do the things that we know. Just like if something's easy to do, it's also just as easy not to do,
Mm.
and that goes with the knowledge that we have. So like we know the
So
right thing to do, but it's just as easy not to do it as it is to do it, and so
it's easy to do it,
it's easy to do it.
the right thing.
Yeah, yeah. So like you made the money. It's easy not to spend it as it is easy to spend it.
It is
Like,
as easy as not to spend the money as it is to spend it.
yeah, because if you weren't spending it before, if you just kept not spending it like you weren't spending it before, that would be easy to do because you would be maintaining your lifestyle.
It's not easy. It's not easy.
It's not, I guess.
It's not easy for me. Well, because I don't know. Like I grew up in poverty, and I kind of feel like, okay, so Tony Robbins says there's six human needs.
Okay, hold on. Before you go into Tony
Okay, we're
Robbins'
wrapping our
60
time up.
yes,
Okay.
we are out of time, but we'll use that to segue into our next thing because uh, Charles here is a firm believer in coaching, and not that I'm not. He's has invested a good sum of money and funds into getting coaching from a lot of top people like Grant Cardone and Tony Robbins and several other people,
Mm.
and so. I want to segue into that. So we'll keep that up. I guess it'll technically be part three, but it'll be its own part in itself, where we're going to talk about investing in a coach and is it worth it. So come back next time. We'll see you later.